With respect to Judge Merchan, I mean, I am like now, I have like a man crush on him. Right. He is such a great judge that it's hard to see that the jurors wouldn't have the same impression. I mean, you just keep on thinking, if you looked in a dictionary for like judicial temperament, that's what you get.
Hard-hitting analysis going on over at MSNBC, especially given the guilty verdict we just heard out of the Trump trial in New York. And no wonder this guy loves the Democrat donor judge presiding over President Trump's criminal trial in New York so much because, well, that was Andrew Weissmann. You may remember him from the nickname the media gave him during the Russiagate hoax era. He was called Mueller's Pitbull because he was assumed to be the real power behind the aging former special counsel. Like all the other Russiagate hoaxers, he easily transitioned from a government position to a media one because, at this point, there's no telling where one ends and the other begins. That hoax served many purposes, one of which was to make way for the coronation that Hillary Clinton thought was due to her after she stepped aside for Barack Obama back in 2008. The former State Department cyber intel guy Mike Benz reminds us that the Clinton campaign and the DNC misreported the money used to pay a foreign ex-spy to create a fake dossier of dirt on then-candidate Donald Trump as a pretext for the national security state to go after him and his associates. They marked those funds as going toward legal services and legal compliance consulting instead of as opposition research in violation of what FEC guidelines are. But of course, nothing ever has or ever will happen to any of them, even though that sounds oddly familiar to what President Trump was just convicted on with the alleged hush money payments, right? That's lawfare for you, a guilty verdict for a crime that not even prosecutors can define, let alone prove. The jury was kept in the dark about a lot thanks to Judge Juan Merchan, who had ruled against Trump's lawyers attempting to introduce exculpatory evidence into the courtroom over these past few weeks. No wonder Weissmann has a man crush on him. Weissmann likes Merchan because Merchan is like Lady Liberty peeking out from beneath her blindfold. Whereas Weissmann and the left don't like the conservative Supreme Court justices all too much because, well, they're not under the left's thumb. After all, the made-up scandals against Justice Clarence Thomas and more recently against Justice Samuel Alito, well, now the left is even going after Justice Amy Coney Barrett. They must be really afraid of President Trump appealing his guilty verdict to the nation's highest court to be overturned. The big scandal they want us to get our panties in a twist about is that Barrett's husband is a lawyer who's now defending the parent company of Fox News in a defamation lawsuit. Yeah, that's it. That's the whole controversy. It's a nothing burger. Rachel Bovard, vice president of programs for the Conservative Partnership Institute, posted in reply, quote, "Jesse Barrett doesn't even have a Supreme Court practice." Meanwhile, Marty Ginsburg, husband of the sainted Ruth Bader Ginsburg, worked at a firm which routinely had business before SCOTUS, while his wife was a justice. None of it was disclosed, end quote. The hysteria is just as fake as it was over the friends or personal ethics of Clarence Thomas or about what flag Samuel Alito and his wife chose to fly above their New Jersey beach home after being accosted by their pro-BLM neighbors. Joining us now to discuss all of this and a whole lot more is Brianna Lyman, an elections correspondent for The Federalist. Brianna, thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Great. So today's guilty verdict really emphasizes just how strategic, would you say, the left has been in undermining the nation's highest court.
Kara, I'll tell you, what stands out to me today is Thomas Paine's quote, "These are the times that try men's souls." I cannot think of a more pertinent quote to define what happened today. We have witnessed and we are stepping into a new era of American life. The era from July 4th, 1776 to, May 29th, 2024 is now in the past. This is a new type of American life. And I'm so disgusted and disappointed in the jurors of New York. I'm a New Yorker, I live in New York, and they are my fellow peers as well. They have done a disservice, not to Donald Trump, but to the American people. They were there to act as a check on an arbitrary, a capricious, and an overzealous prosecutor, Alvin Bragg, and they didn't do their due diligence. And what gets me most upset is that the crux of this case is that Donald Trump covered up these alleged payments because he wanted to win an election. Michael Cohen told these jurors to their face that Donald Trump's first reaction to the Stormy Daniels story wasn't about an election. It was about his wife and his children. It was about his family. The fact that they could convict him after hearing that evidence is confirmation that this was a lawfare trial from the beginning, and there was no shot at a not guilty verdict.